have so much to be grateful for. There's a creek here on my land, and saw a couple of little turtles this morning because of all the rain. Just the little joys of connecting with nature. Someone mentioned waking up this morning or no war in their country. How many things we take for granted. I was watching a clip yesterday, maybe it was the day before, and it was Dave Chappelle talking with Maya Angelou. And she was sharing a story about how she met Tupac. She didn't know it was Tupac at the time, but the story goes she leaves her trailer. They were on the set of some film, and Tupac is having an argument with another gentleman. And she walks up, and he's all huffing and puffing and cussing and just very upset. And she says, "Excuse me, can I have a moment of your time?" And he's like, "No, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "I understand. But excuse me, if I could just have a moment of your time." He goes on again. She's like, "Okay, but let me just say something." He finally listens. She says, "Do you know how important you are? Do you know how important you are?" This is where the gratitude comes in. And specifically for African Americans, but I think each culture has a version of a former struggle of their ancestors. She says, "Do you know that your ancestors slept in the basement of ships against their will, in their excrement and menstrual flow, so that you could have a life? Do you know how important you are? Can you see beyond your own emotion? Can you see beyond this moment? Do you know how important you are? Do you know the struggles that your ancestors, your parents, regardless of their imperfections, do you know how important you are? Or rather, do you remember, beyond your physical appearance and all the things that we can be overconfident or arrogant about, the importance of the breath in your body, the importance of your voice, the importance of your ideas, your ideology, the importance of what you have to share with the world? Do you know how important you are? Do you know how good you have it, regardless of life's imperfections? I remember I was a senior in college, had a heavy case of senioritis. I was supposed to be studying for my finals and preparing my papers, my essay, and avoid. So I'm actually sitting there and I'm reading Frederick Douglass, A Narrative of a Slave. Nothing to do with anything I need to be focusing on, but that was my way of validating my procrastination. And I'm so frustrated. I'm like, oh, it's my last 2-3 months of school. And I'm reading Frederick Douglass, late 19th century, about 100 years earlier. And he's sharing a story of how he's given the little kids his lunch so that they would teach him how to read. How he fought his slaver every day until he escaped. And now here I am 100 years later, on grants and scholarships and loans to pay for my school. And all I have to do is sit in a Starbucks in the AC and focus. And I'm complaining, right? Do you know how important you are? Do you know how good you really have it? Can you take a moment to postpone the heavy judgment and victim mentality that we can all easily slip into? And look beyond our own nose. Rather look at the foundation of all the beautiful trees that we get to sit in their shade, right? The cool, fresh, clear air that they provide. Those trees planted by our ancestors, by our parents, by our grandparents, the great-grands, and many nameless souls that we can't even track down. Take a moment, realign. You know, at the end of that story with Maya Angelou and Tupac, she reminds him of the power of his voice as a young up-and-coming creative celebrity. And, you know, not long after, she gets a call from his mother. And his mother says, "Thank you. Thank you, Maya. My son called me crying in tears because he had forgotten he couldn't see past his own hurt. But you helped him to realign. You helped him to see the importance of his life." Because when you're in an argument like that, it's because for a moment, you've given your power away. You decided that this person's evaluation of me and my actions is the truth, or it's more important than the evaluation of my ancestors who gave their life. Knowing that they may always be in shackles, but one day there'll be young black men, women, Asian, Latinx, of all genders, of all sexual identities, who will embrace a measure of freedom that they could only dream of. Right? Do you know how important you are? So for the last little bit of this live, I just want to have a moment to get grounded. I'm going to be right here. A moment to offer gratitude to those who saw our importance. A moment for gratitude for your own life force, your connection to the divine, whatever way that resonates for you. And then a moment to evaluate looking forward. I can't say how I would have responded if I were born in an era where I was abducted in ships and made to be a slave. All I can do is try to honor their courage, their wisdom, their bravery, and their belief in me by embodying that same identity and having belief for the future. So, let's take a moment just to breathe in deep. And if you want, you can put a hand over your heart, over your chest, just to awaken the senses to that space. And deep gratitude of that life force given to you. Allowing your eyes to gently close. Taking a deep breath in, settling into your body, out of the mind into the body. And on your exhale, settling your body into your seat. Now a low, deep belly breath in. And release. Another low belly breath in. With gratitude for the ancestors and those who came before us. And release, let it go. One more deep breath in now, remembering the importance of your life force. And release. Continuing to breathe now at your own pace. Contemplate for a moment the day of your birth, a pure spirit, given the gift of life with a unique identity, a beating heart, a loud cry, and unique fingerprints of all the souls in human form. None before you have had that print on the tips of their fingers, and none after you will. Life has deemed you worthy of life. And part of that worthiness is your uniqueness, your individuality. Remembering that the signs have always been all around us. But in moments of heavy feelings, you might have been blinded by those emotions. So taking a moment now to be with your heart, breathing into the heart space. And just feeling how the heart is today, without judgment. Is there tenderness, light and shadow all at once? Gratitude and reservation. Witness it all without judgment. You can have that back after this practice, but just for a moment, surrender it. And as you're present to these feelings, these emotions, you honor their importance. And as you see yourself, you ground yourself. So now we ask the heart this morning one question. The heart being our source of intuitive wisdom, inner knowing, and guidance. Dear heart, what do I need to know today? Again, the question is, dear heart, what do I need to know today? Breathing it in, surrendering all thoughts from the egoic brain, the mind. Just hold space for about a minute here for the heart's reply. Sometimes the response is very clear, imagery or sensation. It creates space for the heart to be seen and heard whenever it decides to speak. Nonetheless, we say thank you to our heart. Say thank you to our ancestors. Say thank you to life and the divine itself for this day. And we close this practice with a bit of metta, loving kindness. Just breathing in, connecting to pure love. I often see it as a flower in bloom, standing, offering its fresh air, its sweet nectar, unconditionally. See it in your own heart. Can you allow yourself to be the giver and the receiver of that love? Allowing that sensation to overtake you. Growing bigger with each breath. And brighter with each breath. Until you are in overflow. So now thinking of one person who is in need or suffering this morning. Extend a thread from your heart to theirs. And with deep intention, as you breathe, send your overflow of pure love and kindness along that thread to them. As you breathe, you both grow lighter and brighter, present to the energy in motion, allowing it to be grounded, and creating space to set a divine intention for your day. So we'll take one more minute here in silence, and I want you to set an intention for your day. Could be to remain in love, to remember your importance and your value, or the importance and value of each beating heart, or something else. But take this last minute now to set an intention. The love, light, and truth within me honors the love, light, and truth within you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this morning's practice, this morning's connection, this point of remembering how important you are. You're always supported. Breathe through it and love through it. Be well. Much love and light. Peace.